The superstars of Fan Control Football Season 2.0 are not only the who's who of celebrity team owners and influencers, not the 21 million live views of our Emmy-nominated broadcast. Across Twitch, DAZN, Fubo, NBCLX, Peacock. Or our highlights that scored over 100 million views. And we can't forget best-in-class sponsors. But the biggest star of Season 2 is our play-calling app that allow fans to control the action on the field. Fans pick a team, pick a play, 4 run plays, 4 pass plays to choose from. The play with the most votes is called in real time.
We got it.
This is where video games and live action come to life. And now, Fan Control Sports and Entertainment brings you Fan Controlled Hoops, where fans call the shots. Coming 2023, the future of sports is here, and it's Fan Control. Power to the fans.
Are you ready for it?
This is FCTV, fan-controlled television. Programs created and produced for the fans, by the fans of fan-controlled sports and entertainment. As always, power to the fans. And now, it's time for the show.
Don't cause a ruckus. We talking that talk, it's spitting them facts. We setting them traps and cracking them backs. Yeah. We got all the news, we know all the stories. Yeah. We start from the bottom, rise up to the glory. Yeah. We say what your local reporters can't say. Yeah. We break down the X's and O's on the play. It's AJ, King, Con, and Jose. Ruckus. We call it right on the first take, and they love us. Yeah, we the best when it comes to sports debate. Find the podcast and let it play. If we get you in your feelings, that's okay. AJ and Jose send you on your way like, bruh, don't cause a ruckus. We just call it how we see it, big bro. And that we will always...
What's up, Internet? Welcome to Don't Khahs a Ruckus, the sports debate show that tries not to take itself too seriously. I am one of your hosts, Jose Ruckus, and joining me, as always, is my good friend and arch enemy, AJ Kyle. What's going on, AJ?
Not too much, man. Honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I've realized that you ask me this question every time. I always say not too much. So now I'm going to just start off with something that's on my mind. And I want to talk about it with you. So, I used to be a part of two bands.
Yeah.
So Sleep On It is my first band, longest band. Hasn't been around. We're dead for a while. Now my old band Makeout, I left because I didn't like the manager. I'm open. It's cool. No issues with the band. I love those guys. But they're on tour with a band called Every Avenue. Now, for those who don't know who Every Avenue is, they're like a pop punk band that broke up a long time ago. Big famous band if you were into that scene. But they came back. It's one dude from the original lineup. And it's one dude like from the last lineup. So it's just one dude from the band as a whole. And he brought in a bunch of hired guns. Now, I don't know if like fans are happy about that. But like
it's
got me
it's like
thinking.
Guns N' Roses, right? Like the Chinese Democracy era when they were just like rotating like Buckethead played in that band,
yeah.
Like whoever.
But it's just one original member of any iteration. So it got me to thinking, maybe I do that with my old band because like all of them got canceled. I left way before they got canceled, so I'm not canceled, and the music is still loved. What if you know what you should do is you should do what Thomas Kilnocki did. He was in Catch-22, and then that band broke up, and he formed Streetlight Manifesto. And the second Streetlight Manifesto album is just he did the Catch-22 album. He just re-recorded it. He did? Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I should just do that. Just start because I want to do the whole Gorillaz thing, make music, but behind like not my face, because I don't like my face. Let's be real. A cartoon monkey would be better. So that's just what's on my mind right now. But
all right, no, I'm into it. I like it. That's interesting. But yeah, if you didn't know, Don't Khahs a Ruckus, sports debate show. We do it every Wednesday here on twitch.tv/fan-controlled-sports, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Then this goes live on podcast services and the YouTube. But you can be watching it live, just like Peanut is every week. He's here. He's always watching. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about this week because free agency just opened up about a day or two ago. And man, there's a lot of news. But the one big news item that came out today Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show says he intends to go to the New York Jets. AJ, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm disappointed, but at least he finally got it out there. There's no more questioning about like where he wants to go, but I just think that that's a poor decision on his part, honestly. Like he has such a tenured like all-star career in my opinion, and I feel like it's going to be tainted kind of. I'm not saying Tom Brady tainted his with his last season, but it's not the same. He could have left on a Super Bowl win with Tampa Bay, left on top, and instead he's kind of leaving potentially if he doesn't come back to the Dolphins. He's potentially leaving on like a low note, and I feel like the same thing is going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. As much as like he wants to change up, the organization and the culture over there in the Jets, I genuinely don't think as an organization the Jets have the wherewithal to pull together a team worthy of Aaron Rodgers' last few seasons to make a playoff run. I really don't.
The Jets are not good management. I think this is a great example of bad management. You're bringing in this dude. You locked yourself out of a huge chunk of the free agency trying to figure out how much you're going to pay this guy, how much of the cap. You're cutting a bunch of players on your team already. He's coming in. He doesn't want your guys. He gives the Jets a list of offensive players that he wants. It's all guys from the Packers. The Packers right now, they've got the Jets over a barrel because they've missed out on all the quarterbacks in the free agency. Jimmy Garoppolo signed with the Raiders. Derek Carr went over to the Saints. Everybody's gone around. Everybody's already signed. The Jets are going to have to give up huge amount of picks, all kinds of stuff, because they have to get Aaron Rodgers now. If they don't get Aaron Rodgers, their entire free agency's completely failed. So I think this is just a perfect example of why the Jets always seem to screw things up.
Well, not only that, like the thing that's kind of bonkers to me is, did you see the like list of people that Aaron Rodgers wants the Jets to go after?
Randall Cobb, Mercedes Lewis,
Odell.
Odell. These guys aren't better than the guys the Jets already have. They're just older.
Yeah, I feel like it's just people that Aaron Rodgers is familiar with. Like they already got Lazard, like Alan Lazard, but like
yeah.
So that's one person checked off his list, and he's made his intentions clear. He wants to be a Jet, but man, I don't know who can like. There's nobody that can convince me that this is good. This is like a positive step in the right direction. I think this is just. This is just like meandering down the middle of the road for Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. Like, I don't think this is a step in a positive direction for either person. I think like it's a lateral step, if anything.
Honestly, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to enter the AFC East, and he's going to be the fourth best quarterback in that division, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have Josh Allen,
division.
You have Tua, you have Bailey Zappi. These guys are great. These are good quarterbacks. And frankly, with the Dolphins picking up Mike White, Aaron Rodgers might be fifth. Honestly, I think I'm going to be honest. If I was the Jets right now, I would rather just hold on to. I would have paid Mike White whatever terrible contract the Dolphins just gave him, and I would run out there with Mike White because I don't think that you're a quarterback away right now. I really don't. I don't think that there's that much worth putting all this investment in a 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Mike White is young. Mike White looked promising at points last season, and Mike White is cheap. And those are three things that Aaron Rodgers is not. So, yeah, I don't like this. And I'm just sick of Aaron Rodgers at this point. Every single day, it's all about Aaron Rodgers. Even today, he goes on Pat McAfee's show, and he doesn't say, hey, I'm going to the Jets. It's over. No, he says, well, I'm intending to go to the Jets. Okay. But who knows what's going to happen, He wants everybody paying attention to him. All free agency.
He's a pot stirrer, man. He likes the pot. He likes to stir it. He likes to be the center of attention in it. He wants to be the main protein in said drama pot and free agency for the NFL. And I can't blame the man. Like, I loved his reclusive, like, I'm going away for like 2 weeks and not coming back. And then when I come back, I'm going to become a Jet. Like, I'm saying, like, he must have been. I think my idea where he was doing something else besides reclusing himself into,
I agree.
Getting his idea. I think he must have come out just a little intoxicated still, being like, the Jets, let's go.
I agree. Let's get into the rest of the NFL free agency news, because there's a lot of stuff going down right now. AJ, right now, who do you think are the winners and the losers in the NFL free agency period?
I mean, I'm gonna say it. The Falcons are the winners of the free agency right now.
Johnny Smith.
No, I like you got to look at the other players that they got. Let me pull up this thing that I have. I have a grid that we came up with yesterday that we were talking about on. Here it is. Is it? No, this is the one. Here it is. I'm pulling it up right now. All right. So the reason why I say the Falcons is we got Chris Lindstrom, Jonnu Smith. We also got, where's the other guy? Jesse Bates 3. See, now Jesse Bates, that is, to me, someone that's going to help immediately in the defensive end for the Falcons. Jonnu Smith, he's not going to add much alongside Kyle Pitts, let's be real. But that's a good two tight end combination as far as, especially their division. I'm excited to see them play alongside each other. But the reason why I say the Falcons is because they're hungry. They're using that cap space that they have. Now, I think the Bears are going to do some damage. It looks like Austin Eckler is going to be moving to Chicago. That's the rumor right now. And that would be a great fit. And I saw something online that said, who's going to beat like a team with like, what? It's Justin Fields, it's Austin Eckler, Chase Claypool,
DJ Moore now.
DJ Moore, yeah, DJ Moore. That's who I was thinking of. Like, who's gonna be? Oh, and Kemet. What?
Chase Claypool, who they got from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Claypool.
I think they're re-signing him.
Cole Kemet. That's who I was thinking.
Cole Kemet. Yeah. He's.
So that's like a potent offense, and somebody's like, who's gonna stop that? You know who's gonna stop that? Chicago's O-line. That's who's going to stop that. They don't have an O-line. As somebody who lives in Chicago, they're not doing too much on the. If they spend all of their draft picks on their O and D line, maybe they could do something. But that's another organization that I think is bad. So I'm going to say winners and losers so far. Falcons I'm going to say winners because I like who they're picking up. I like Heineke coming in as a backup. He's, to me, a great backup. They already said they're going with Ritter. Love that. I love that they're putting their faith behind the youngster. But they also got a backup who, can come in, fill a position. We saw him do that with the Commanders last season. And he's willing to put the youth in front. Another thing that we saw last season. And he seems like he's a veteran that's willing to teach. And I like that. I think that's good. But yeah, there's still a lot to be seen. We still have the draft. I don't know. What do you think, man? Who are your picks for winners?
I think the biggest signing so far for me happened just a couple hours ago. The Saints went and picked up Jamal Williams from the Detroit Lions. I think that's a really talented player. I think the Lions are really going to miss him, and I think the Saints are. That's actually like a pretty good addition to that roster there. I think the Raiders getting Jimmy Garoppolo is fine. They're moving. I think that they are keeping the exact same level of quarterback play that they're getting, but for significantly cheaper. I like that signing for that. I will say the Seattle Seahawks picked up Draymond Jones, who I think is really, really good. I think he's going to be, we need like linemen, and he's going to be extremely good in that position there. Overall, I think this is like a really, really like crazy free agency period. It seems like all of a sudden, like so many people are out on free agency. What's happening to the Rams right now, where they're just like cutting every single player on their roster is insane.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts to me. I don't know what any of the LA teams are doing. Like getting rid of like the Chargers and Eckler is wild to me. Everything the Rams are doing is nuts. It just feels like it's a yard sale over there in LA.
Yeah, teams are benefiting. Like, I mean, somebody's going to get to add Bobby Wagner to their roster, and he's going to be a difference maker. You saw Miami went and got one of the best cornerbacks in the league right now because of it. So it's gonna be a difference maker for teams this year. As far as the Falcons go, I think it's interesting. I think most of their signings have been pretty good. I think the trade for Jonnu Smith is fine. I don't think tight end is a position that you really want to go with. Like if you're trying to like build up something new, I think that's something you trade for if you're already in like win now mode. But I mean the pick compensations that they got for Jonnu Smith it's pretty crazy. It was like what it's like a 5th rounder or a 7th rounder.
Yeah, some nuts.
Yeah, it's really cheap. I mean, for everything that's not salary cap. So, and they have salary cap to spend. So I think it's a pretty decent signing.
I think it's just, with Kyle Pitts being hurt and coming off of an injury, this is just more safety of like, hey, just in case he's not ready to go at the season beginning, we got another decent tight end who can produce. So
that's
I'm not mad.
And I like running, especially if you have one really talented tight end. I like running multi tight end sets. I think that's really, really efficient. I think that's going to wrap it up for our free agency talk. Still a lot of really interesting pieces out there that we're going to be talking about as we go forward. Like we said, we don't know where Austin Eckler's going yet. That's probably getting a trade there. Ezekiel Elliott just got let go from the Cowboys, so he's going to be moving somewhere probably. A lot to look forward to in the next couple of weeks. But something else that we're going to be looking forward to, the Milwaukee Bucks just locked up a playoff berth. They've clinched, which means it's time that we can officially start looking at NBA playoffs.
It's way too early playoff predictions for us.
Yes, sir.
I love it.
I told you at the beginning of the season that the Bucks were going to be the number 1 seed coming out of the East, and it looks like I'm right. They are cleaning it up right now. For the most part, like I think the East is going to be super competitive. A lot of these teams do look really good. But right now, I think it's pretty hard to argue anybody but the Bucks are coming out of the East. The West, I don't know. I don't even. I mean, the Celtics are a good team that have sort of like gone back and forth between being one of the best teams in the East. They've been kind of struggling lately.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and I don't trust that team in the playoffs. I just haven't seen them have the killer instinct in the playoffs.
It's true.
Well, Milwaukee's already gotten it done, and they're just playing the best basketball that they have all season right now down the stretch. Like I think by the time we get to playoff season, they're just gonna be running through teams. They're really good.
I mean, two things. One, got to call out info in the chat. Thielen being targeted by the Chiefs makes sense. Bradford to Tampa Bay, not the veteran QB I was expecting. 100% right. I don't know what Tampa Bay is doing. As far as the Bucks, the Bucks. I think we both agreed at the beginning of the season. The Bucks are a team that you have to expect is going to make it. You got Giannis, who's a perennial MVP candidate. These guys are always a threat, especially. And I've been saying this from the get-go. The Bucks, great organization. Sneaky organization. I'm going to say that now. The coach that they have, Coach Budenholzer, they took him from the Hawks. They took him after the Hawks had that 52-win season when they didn't have any All-Stars. It was like Jeff Teague, Al Horford, and like a bunch of other kids that nobody remembered.
Al Horford, All-Star, okay?
Al Horford's an All-Star. Yeah, the man's still playing great in Boston. You love to see it. But after that, the Bucks realized that, this guy studied under the great Greg Popovich. He was his assistant coach for almost 12, 15 years. Atlanta sniped him for a head coaching position, and he wasn't happy there, especially because he was the head of a rebuild. It didn't go well. Mm-hmm. He didn't do a great job because he was a coach GM, and then didn't want to go through another rebuild with Trae Young. So the Bucks pounced on that and took an amazing coach, probably Pop 2.0, as I like to call it, and brought him to a team where they had all the pieces to make Giannis an all-star. And that's the key to me right now is I think they have the best coach, if not in just the Eastern Conference, in the entire NBA, honestly. A lot of people hype up like Steve Kerr. A lot of people hype up all these other coaches. I think Coach Bud is one of the best coaches. Look at his, especially in the playoffs, his offensive, plans and drops, especially outside coming from, out of bounds. the plays that he creates are masterpieces. And when you have somebody who's a freak, literally like the Greek freak playing for you, you can get away with things you never thought you could.
I remember a couple years ago when it was Coach Bud was on the hot seat. They wanted him gone. Everybody's expecting him to get. If he didn't win that championship, he would have been fired. Like there were multiple. Like it was like year after year they would get into the playoffs, and then he would some time management or just like challenge problems or stuff, or just like he would blow games at the end of these big playoff series and stuff. And like if Giannis didn't take over and dominate in that finals, like.
But that's what you need for an all-star. Every team needs an all-star. A coach can only do so much. You need somebody that takes the game into his hands at the end. And I seriously think, yes, he was questioned, but I think the reason why was because his tenure as a head coach as a whole has been so short. There's not a lot to go based off of. But for me, I saw him do the dirty work in Atlanta, and now he's prospering in Milwaukee.
I don't think I'd put him, man. I don't think I'd put him top 5 coach in the NBA.
Okay. Who do you think is the best coach in the Eastern Conference then?
In the Eastern Conference, Spoelstra, Miami Heat.
Okay.
Guy's been a great coach for a long time, had a lot of success.
But
I would probably put Nick Nurse above Mike Budenholzer.
Really? Okay. I don't agree. I don't think Nick Nurse is that great. Like he's a good coach. I don't think he's that good.
He's when the I mean, he hasn't had a good Raptors team in quite a long time. And even you look at last year, that team was not very good. But when they got to playoffs time, they really looked like a threat for a little bit. Like he's consistently put together. He's done what Popovich has done for the last couple of years, which is put together like pretty solid teams with like just garbage.
100% I agree with you. And I think the difference maker for Nick Nurse is he doesn't have an all-star anymore.
If you gave Nick Nurse, Al Horford, and like 4 bums, they would be a playoff team. They'd be a really good team.
You really think so? I don't think they would be a playoff team. I feel like genuinely, I feel like if you put Nick Nurse on like, I don't know, it's the Brooklyn Nets right now. I don't think they go to the playoffs.
Are the Raptors best player? Like who's the Raptors best player right now?
What isn't it? The guy whose name I can't pronounce. I'm gonna, you know who I'm talking about.
I do. I can't name a Raptors player off the top of my head right now.
I can. I don't want to butcher his name, but I feel like I'm gonna have to. OG Anunoby is on there. Pascal Siakam. There it is. Siakam.
Siakam right now is not as good as Al Horford was at his peak in Atlanta.
That's true, but Scotty Barnes, their new rookie, is like very good, man.
Yeah, he's fine. I'm just saying. I think like last year, I think Nick Nurse did a lot more with a lot less.
Fair. I'll give you that.
Who do you have coming out of the West? Because the West is crazy right now. Ja Morant might not play for the rest of the season.
I think because of that, the Grizzlies are out. I'm gonna say it straight up.
Yeah, and like if he doesn't get back by playoffs, they're done. They might sneak into playoffs just because they've been in the race for so long, but no,
they're like 50 and they're second in the West right now. But I feel like if he doesn't,
they're gonna fall to like a mid seed. They're gonna be a first round exit. The Nuggets. This would be a great time to see the Nuggets do well. But when you look at like the Nuggets, as well as they're playing right now, one of the best teams in the NBA. I just can't imagine them beating Giannis in the finals. I don't even think that series is going to be competitive if it gets there.
I feel like it would be, and the reason why is because Jokic could match up on Giannis. The only difference is Giannis would outrun him. If Giannis can keep him on his toes, then it's Giannis all day. Otherwise,
Milwaukee's so much deeper. That's the thing. Is Milwaukee just has other playmakers. They've got Drew Holiday who can win a game on his own.
Okay, I'm gonna say some wild things right now. Mavericks not gonna make it. They're not gonna make it to the playoffs.
They're not gonna make it to the playoffs.
They're not gonna make it. They'll make the play-in, but they're gonna lose in the play-in. All right. They're not playing well. Kyrie and Luka are not doing well. They're like 9th in the Western Conference right now, 34 and 35. They're not even 50%. They're below 50. They're not doing well.
That's still the play-in tournament.
Suns in 4. All right. Especially with Kevin Durant coming in.
But will Kevin Durant be coming in? That's the question.
That is the question. But he's going to come in, man. But by the time the playoff starts, he'll be ready. He'll be good to go.
He's coming off what was a near career-ending injury for Kevin Durant. Like that last injury he had on his Achilles when he first got to the Nets, like he basically didn't play for 2 years after that. Like this dude he didn't get hurt. He didn't get hurt playing in a game this time. He got hurt in the layup line.
Yeah.
Like this, there's something wrong with this dude now. Like I don't like to just say it's a foregone conclusion. He's gonna be back in the playoffs. I don't think that's true.
It's only an MCL sprain, though. That's the thing that you got to keep in mind. It's only a sprain, and I feel like he's the type of person that's not gonna let something that minimal prevent him from playing in the playoffs, especially with a team where, like, let's be real. Kevin Durant thrives and wins his championship rings when he goes to a team midway through a season that's
if he's not feeling 100%, he's not going to play. Remember how his career ended in the Warriors? He didn't want to play. He had almost the same, like it was a minute injury that he had at the time. He didn't tear his ACL yet. They thought that he would be fine. He could play on it if he decided to. They talked him into it, and then he got hurt even worse. I don't see this dude playing unless he feels he's 100% when the Suns get to the playoffs.
I don't know, man. I feel like,
and anyway, it doesn't matter because the Kings are going out of the West. The Kings are winning it all.
You think the Kings are going to win it all?
Light up the beam. Kings are taking it all.
You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see the Kings Hawks. Why? Because you got Kevin Huerter coming from the Hawks, going to the Kings, and he is lighting it up. Like, after being away from Trae Young's shadow, to have Red Velvet get out there and get known for his name. Dude, he is so good. And
he's really good.
There's this thing.
He's what they thought Duncan Robinson was going to be.
Exactly. Yes, 100%. But this is something about Atlanta that I hate. And I feel like there's this negative stereotype where, like, nobody likes Atlanta fans. Like, Atlanta players, Atlanta fans.
Let's just get into the next topic then. If we're gonna go here, AJ, yeah, we're just gonna talk. It's Hawk Talk.
Kind of the transition. Let's Hawk Talk. Let's Hawk Talk it up. No, but like this is a perfect transition because I feel like Hawks in general, Atlanta in general, sports in general, they get looked down upon. All right. Case in point, Marcus Smart hates the Hawks, especially after what we saw this weekend. The man body slammed Trae Young. And is now getting a fine for what? I think it was $25,000, $35,000, and he was ejected from the game. The thing that bothers me the most about this is if you watch the film back, he's upset that as Trae Young is going up for a layup, he kicks his legs out after the jump, which he does always. And it wasn't like he was kicking his legs forward. It was a leg kick back. And he accidentally nicks Marcus Smart in the gonads. All right. So this guy proceeds to get mad and legitimately body slam Trae Young down. Now, they give a technical to both men. And I think that that's wrong. Trae Young did not deserve a technical. Marcus Smart was ejected, rightfully so, because he kept trying to fight. But yeah, I think, like, look at Kevin Huerter. Look at Trae Young. Kevin Huerter never got any recognition when he was in Atlanta.
Well, he's been doing the same thing. He had that game against who was it? The 76ers.
The 76ers.
Where he just lit them up in the playoffs. He had that game.
Yeah. And he got a little recognition then. But it wasn't until he went to the Kings that there's a lot of love for Red Velvet now. And same thing with Trae Young. The man is, like, I think 4th in the scoring, almost 2nd in assists leading. And he was ranked dead last as, like, among peers for All-Star as a guard in the Eastern Conference. Like, out of all 12 teams in the Eastern Conference,
a lot of good guard play right now.
Trae Young is the worst.
A lot of good guard play right now.
You really think that there are, in the Eastern Conference, 11 other better guards than Trae Young?
Maybe.
you're smoking.
Maybe, I don't know.
He is literally in the top 10 in assists and scoring in the entire league. And you're saying there are 11 players, guards, better than him in just the Eastern Conference. There's something wrong. And it is a bias, man. Because come on, if it was any other player, if it was LeBron James getting hit by Marcus Smart that heavily, it was $25,000, by the way. If it was that bad, not only would Marcus Smart get ejected in a technical, LeBron James would get free throws and he'd get an apology from the commissioner. Like, let's come on.
I mean, I don't know. Like, Trae Young hasn't earned like those kind of calls to be like, oh yeah, we got to protect you that way. I don't.
There's
think
a
it's that
difference
ridiculous.
between earning protection calls and when a player literally body slams you. Like, that's a difference.
I don't know.
He threw the man to the ground after they were both on their feet. Yeah.
Well, so how do you feel about the Hawks in general right now? Because Quinn Snyder's there now. They're in what?
Yeah.
They're the 8th seed.
Right now, currently, the Atlanta Hawks are in the 8th seed. I think. Let me make sure.
I think so.
Yeah, they are. Yes, Eastern Conference.
8th seed, 34-35.
Right. So that puts them behind the Heat, which is 37-33, Nets and Knicks. So this is the thing that I kind of am enjoying right now, that a lot of people aren't talking about, and it's the difference between. I'm a huge Hawks fan. I take advantage of it talking too much about them in here because it's the one team I love, and we do that. We talk about Falcons, Seahawks. We talk about Hawks here. We talk a lot about baseball, and I don't know that much about it. So we do what we like here because that's the Don't Cause a Ruckus way. But the thing that I like to point out is we have such a small baseline to judge these two coaches off of. But in the first 2 games, I'm going to compare the last 2 games with Nate McMillan, the first 10 games versus the last 10 games.
Yeah.
First with Quinn, last with Nate. So the point per game with Nate McMillan was 118, 10th in the NBA. With Quinn Snyder, 122.3, 4th in the NBA. Field goal percentage. I'm not gonna go over everything. I'm just gonna give you their rankings.
Yep.
With Nate McMillan, 20th. With Coach Snyder, 3rd in the NBA. 3-point percentage. With Nate, 15. Quinn, 6th. Offensive rating. Nate, 13. Quinn, 5th. Now, defensive rating. This is the only big one. Nate, it was 22nd. Quinn, it's 26th. So they're not a great defensive team. But everything else, as soon as Quinn Snyder took over, they were within the top 6 teams in every offensive category.
Okay.
If they kept that from the beginning of the season till now, they would be probably 1st or 2nd, maybe 3rd place. If they continue this, I genuinely think they could make a good run. I'm not saying they're going to win it all. No. But they could win the playoff, like play-in bracket. I could see an Eastern Conference final, potentially. It depends on how much synergy. I'm going to say synergy. I like that word. We're going to go with synergy. All right. Synergy that Quinn Snyder can do. You can see the difference between how Trae Young plays defense right now. He's been picking players up full court and actually causing problems. It's been great to see. Something that every person has complained about with Trae Young is his defense on and off the ball. Since Quinn Snyder took over, his defensive rating has increased steadily. It's not like major, like let's say he's one of the best defensive players. No, we're not going to say that. He's Trae Young. Dude's tiny. But the fact that he's changing his mentality and mindset with him, and the coach is actually sitting down, putting time behind it and telling him, hey, stop putting that personal time behind it. You love to see it. And he's open to it, and you can tell. So I think there's potential. I would love to see a good playoff run, but we'll see.
So I'll say this. So the Heat are on decline right now. I think that the Hawks will probably finish this season in the 7th seed. Right? I think they're going to continue to play pretty well.
I like that.
I do think that they've improved. They're 3 games behind the Heat right now, and I expect the Heat to drop down to like the 8th seed. So I'll give the Hawks the 7th seed.
I'll take it.
So first round they play the Celtics. How would you feel about that matchup? Do you think they make it out of that matchup?
That would be rough. Honestly, I think that's a 7-game series, and I could see that going either way. I think the Celtics would probably win it if I'm being honest and fair, but you never know. If the Knicks,
we'll even give them if the Nets fall off, we give them the 76ers at the third 76ers. 76ers.
We could take the 76ers. We can take the 76ers.
You can take on James Harden. You can take on Joel Embiid.
Yeah. Yes, because we've done it once, we'll do it again. That would be a confidence booster if they played Philly. You know why? Because they would have every fan would wear the John Collins dunking on Joel shirt that's out there with his like arm wrapped around him, dunking over him, and it would just get in Joel's mind. He wouldn't play as well. That's a done deal. We would beat them. Knicks, I think we would beat too. Heat, I think we'd beat. Cavs, we would beat. The only teams that I would be nervous to go up against, and I'm going to be honest here, Bucks and Celtics. Only 2. Those 2, I think, are the 2 that could destroy the Hawks.
So I'm gonna be honest. I put you guys. I think you're like the end of B tier. In the Eastern Conference, I would put you guys in the same category as the Cavs, same category as the Knicks, and I would put you guys behind them. I think I'd be more willing to take the Cavs than I would take the Hawks.
The only reason why I disagree is because I think playoff Trae Young is a different breed of human than normal season Trae Young. He lives for playoffs. And especially in New York, after all the F Trae Young chants, I think it just feeds his soul. He just eats that up, man.
I hate the Knicks, and so I would like to see.
You'd be like, yes.
Well, I hate New York, but yeah, I would like to see Trae Young go embarrass New York, but I'm not sure the bracket's going to line up in a way for us that'll happen.
I don't think
unfortunately.
It will. Unfortunately, hey, you never know. Like the Knicks could go on a run. They could get that 3rd seed. We could.
It's entirely possible.
We could see the Hawks take the 6th seed. Nets, Cavs drop off. You never know.
All right, I think that's going to wrap up our NBA talk today. I think that went really well. I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
We're going to do a little bit of baseball talk, as we alluded to earlier, because the World Baseball Classic is going on right now. Tonight we have the Dominican Republic versus Puerto Rico, 2 baseball powerhouses playing each other right now. It's got to be just a crazy game. Both those teams, both those cultures playing in Miami right now, like it's got to be just crazy. These games have been like, have you watched any of these World Baseball Classic games, AJ? They've been super fun.
I've been watching a couple of them. I try to pay attention to the players that I have on the Braves.
So most
Freddie
of
Freeman didn't know he was Canadian.
Yeah.
So
neither did I. Most of the games are happening in Miami right now, and just like the Miami crowd, because there's so many Latinos in that community and stuff. Like they love baseball, dude, and like these games are like it's so much fun. Bunch of the huge group of fans standing right behind the catcher, just doing like strikeout calls and stuff. It's awesome.
Oh, that's great.
The Italian team had an espresso machine in their dugout.
Love it. See, that's okay. That's the shit that we need to see in the MLB. We need to see teams with actual personalities. The Brewers put a keg or two. Let's see some awesome brewery things right in the dugout, straight to the thing. I love that. I love that the Italians had an espresso. Bring that into it.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch, especially because I know there's a joke oh yeah, it's like the US and then we just crush it. But one, that's not actually the case. A lot of these countries are really good at baseball.
That's kind of the beauty of baseball.
Yeah, but what's really great about it is the U.S. team is some of the guys there, they're really having a good time. Obviously they enjoy just going out there and playing in this thing. But some they don't take it serious the way some of these teams, the Dominican Republic team, they really care about this. The Puerto Rico team, the Cuban team, the Japanese and Korean teams, they're really, really good and do you ever watch like KBL when it was like at the very beginning of pandemic, all sports shut down, but the Korean Baseball League was still going on? Did you watch any of that?
Yeah, I did. That was like when I was craving sports and they had baseball, and I'm like, out of all the sports, I get
Korean
better
baseball
than golf.
players. Korean baseball players are some of the most fun people to watch because they're culturally they're all super into bat flips. And so they're all doing like super cool bat flips. When they hit a home run, they celebrate like crazy. And they beat the Chinese team by 22 runs the other night. It's insane. These games are awesome.
No, I love it. Anytime that you can bring bunch of countries and cultures together for one sport and have it be mostly about sports, whether it's the Olympics, the baseball World Classic, or the World Cup. You love to see it because it shows us as humans, it shows us that we don't have to like fight over everything. We can come together in joyous occasion, and I love it. I'm excited to see it. Like I said, I love seeing different players on and you find out their teams. It's great to do it in a sport like baseball. Freddie Freeman, come on, that's great. I was seeing that he's Canadian. Both you and I are like, he's Canadian. All right, let's go. And you're right.
U.S. beat Canada, which was awesome. U.S. beat Great Britain, just beat the hell out of them after tying them in the World Cup. So we come out on top of this year. We are better at sports, at every sport, than Great Britain.
There it is. I feel like that's like a thing that the U.S. does every like couple of years is like Olympics. We had the most medals. Like like now it's like World Cup and World Class, better than you, Britain. At least we can say that we didn't do anything else, but we're better than Britain. Let's go.
The U.S. has a shot, so I would pay attention. The U.S. might win the World Baseball Classic, which would be cool. The two of these teams right now, like I said, Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic are both stacked, but they're playing each other right now, and only one of these teams can make it through. So that's actually going to be pretty wild.
I feel like whoever wins that has got to be the favorite to win it all afterwards.
But potentially, Japan is still really. I mean, they have Shohei Ohtani over there, so they're really, really good. The U.S. we have like one of the best squads we've ever fielded. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll keep you updated if anything interesting happens. We got one more news topic today, AJ. This is one. Okay, so you're not going to know what this is, but I'm going to explain this to you, okay? Because this just happened yesterday, and it's hype as hell.
Okay.
So Magic the Gathering card game. I love it. We got some people in the chat who love it.
I don't know. That's not where I thought it was going.
Okay, so they acquired the rights. They're making a Lord of the Rings themed Magic the Gathering set. Okay. First reveal of it happened yesterday, and what's announced is in one of these packs there is the One Ring. They've made a card. It's called the One Ring, and it's a rare. You can get it in whatever packs, but there will be one special limited edition, one of one, the One Ring hidden in one of the packs for this game. It looks like this. There will only be one of these in circulation ever.
So there's only one of one.
There is it's marked right there. You see the 001 out of 001.
Okay,
it is the One Ring. How much do you think this thing's going to be worth?
I don't know. I feel like that's a good question because I know Magic the Gathering is huge. I told you I had a buddy who was like ranked 17th in the nation a few years ago. One of my good friends just started. He told me that Planeswalker is what Magic the Gathering folk call them, not gatherers. Yep. He's getting into it. He's buying packs. He's trying to convince me to get into it. It seems a little too complicated for me. But if I know anything about collectibles, and I kind of do, NFTs, shit like that, a one of one is worth a lot. And this has been going on for like at least 20 some years, as long as I've been alive almost.
This is going to be the rarest Magic the Gathering card ever.
It's got to be at least, I'm going to say $250,000.
250, really? I'd say this. We're looking closer to $1 million.
You think?
I do. There's some questions about it. Whether or not this is going to be a card that people actually want to play with, I think is going to influence the value. If this is a card that stays around, the Beta Black Lotus, which is previously like the most special card of all time, that usually sells for around $1 million when they get sold.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so if that's the case, how many of those are in circulation?
It's
Like 100?
probably like around like 250-ish.
Oh, okay. Then if that's the case, this is easily gonna go for 2.5 mil, if not 5.
You think we can get up to $2.55 million with this?
Yeah, because you have to think that the second most rarest one went for like $1 million on the regular. This is almost 250 times more rare than that. I'm not going to multiply it by 250 times, but you can make the argument that it's worth that much more. But 2.5, yeah, I can see it. I can see it go for 2.5, maybe 5. Yeah.
So the only sticking point I have with it is so Black Lotus is the most expensive card in Magic. It's one of the most powerful cards. So it's got that going for it. And it's also like just one of the most iconic cards. Like they put it on like play mats, they put it on, posters, all that stuff. It's an iconic card that people want to own. This one, I mean, it's the One Ring, right? So it's a Lord of the Rings thing. People are going to have some connection to that. They're going to want it anyway. And this is a very, very special one. I'm going to go 1.5 mil. I think that's where I think when this thing finally does go to auction, I think it's going to be 1.5 million.
Okay.
What do you think? Is this enough to get you to go pack hunting to try to find this thing?
No. I mean, the only reason why I feel like it could go a little higher, and the only reason why I think that is because Bored Apes are going on the regular for like $1 million. So like if this is a one of one, a true one of one, these collectors,
there's more money. Like you've got like rich people who like really want to get. Now I will if Post Malone decides that he wants this thing because he's like super into Magic, then who knows? It could go for like 5 mil.
He may. And that's the thing. Sometimes these people come out the woodwork just because, like I'd love to see that. I love the fact that this is going so hard. And I love that Magic the Gathering is still going. I love that they're doing one-on-ones. But you know what I bet you is going to end up happening is you can trade this in. You're going to have to go on a long journey through certain things, and you're going to trade it in for another one of one that's just going to be the most monstrous card that will never be able to be destroyed. And it's going to be like Sauron. It's going to be something ridiculous. Or like, or it would be great if you get it and it's just Friendship is the card you get back. It's like Samwise and like Frodo hugging. That's what I would want.
That's the real prize is Friendship.
That's the real prize is Friendship. All these years, Magic the Gathering, all we've done is we just want to bring you guys closer together. It's all about friendship at the end of the day.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for our news topics this week. We do have one more topic. It's a game we like to play every week. It's called Off the Top 3. AJ and I are going to make top 3 lists off the top of our head. I've got a topic for AJ, and AJ's got a topic for me. Neither of us know what those topics are. AJ, this week, from you, I want to know. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little preface for this. Okay.
All right, I love it.
Quentin Tarantino, him.
Yes.
You've seen his movies, you love him?
I've seen his movies. I love some of them. Some of them
don't
good.
like others.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's announced he's planning on only doing 10 movies in his career. He's started production on his last movie called The Movie Critic. I don't know if it's actually going to be his last movie, but he says it is.
Yeah.
So AJ, I want to know top 3 favorite Quentin Tarantino movies.
Okay. Now I'm gonna pull him up. I'm gonna look him up just because he has a few.
Yep.
Man, Kill Bill is great.
Indeed.
I've never seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's pretty good.
Wait, he did Little Nicky? No,
he must be in Little Nicky. He didn't direct that.
I was gonna be like, he couldn't have directed Little Nicky because that would be sad. Did he do Desperado?
That is
he was just in it. That was Robert Rodriguez.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So okay. I'm gonna do like this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go no order. Top 3. Reservoir Dogs.
Yes.
Django.
Okay.
And this is a hard one. It's a big tie between Pulp Fiction and Inglourious Bastards.
Those are all really good movies.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Pulp Fiction though.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to go with Pulp Fiction.
Solid. It's a solid list. I think I would have a Kill Bill on there. I love Kill Bill a lot. And Jackie Brown, if you haven't seen it, I think it's his most underrated film. I think that movie's amazing.
I haven't.
Pam Grier, Samuel L. Jackson, Robert De Niro. It's awesome.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Inglourious Bastards, that one's really good. Pulp Fiction, obviously classic.
I never liked Death Proof.
Death Proof's not the best. No,
it's not good. No, Hateful Eight. I loved that one.
It's really good. He's got a lot of he's like mostly bangers. Doesn't have a lot of misses. I can see some people not liking like Hateful Eight. I can see not liking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but for the most part, I think it's all bangers.
See, that's the one that I feel like I need to watch. But the reason why I haven't, I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan, and like his daughter came out and said that that's not like how he wants to be portrayed. That's not how he would have acted when they did that. So I was like, I feel like I got to do it. I got to give it a chance.
I've heard that that's based on some like actual stories people have of Bruce Lee in Hollywood.
Yeah,
it is depending on how you feel about it stuff. I was also, I'm a big Bruce Lee fan as well, so I felt a little bit of some kind of way about it, but it's a good movie though. It's a solid flick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna not watch it, but I haven't so far, and that was my reasoning why.
Gotta check it out.
All right, so it's my turn now.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to come up with an idea, and there's a lot of things coming to mind, but yeah, okay, I guess I'm gonna do this one because it's the only thing that's really jumping out of me. If you had to pick 3 comic books to create future movie or movie franchises that you would be the executive producer of, so your name's attached to it,
okay,
and you're gonna want it to do well, what 3 would you try to build off of? Like, what 3 comics would you try to build franchises off of?
Do I single movies, or do they have to be franchises?
You can make single movie if that's what you think would be best, but
okay. First off, I'm gonna do Lost at Sea by Brian Lee O'Malley, the guy who wrote Scott Pilgrim. It's the book he wrote before Scott Pilgrim. It's fantastic. Everybody should read it. Then I would do see, part of me wants to do Hellboy, but I'm not. I don't think we need another Hellboy movie. It's
another
Hellboy.
Done. It's been done 3 times.
Hellboy is like probably my favorite comic book of all time, and like the movies just don't hit. I love Hellboy. Let me do.
Are not great. I had such high hopes for the last one too with David Harbour.
Yeah, that one looked really exciting because it looked like it was leaning way more into like the horror stuff, and like the imagery looked really nice. But yeah, bit of a disappointment, unfortunately.
Yeah.
This one's
We're
tough.
just loving Canada today. Brian Lee O'Malley, another Canadian cartoonist.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure
out.
BC Lion is loving this. Just Canada Day.
Give me Scud the Disposable Assassin. That's an indie comic from way back when. It's super fun. It's crazy. It's all over the place. Super dope comic. And
that is such a throwback, and he would be such a I could see that Scud as like an actual like. It would be CGI, but it would be like it would look cool as hell.
I'm thinking Chew. Did you ever read Chew?
I haven't. Which one is that?
So Chew was an image book, and it was about like if a guy, he had like basically a superpower where if he ate something, he would immediately be able to like essentially like experience its life while he was eating it and stuff, and then they use that power to solve mysteries. So like he has to like eat dead people and stuff. It's a weird book. Kind of similar.
It sounds like iZombie really badly. He has to eat somebody, so it's like cannibalism, but iZombie is like she's a zombie that if she eats brains, she can be human and she gets their memories.
So it's like they're investigating like murders and stuff, and in order to figure out who killed them, he has to eat part of the dead people. The premise like starts off there and then gets way wider, and they do a lot more stuff with it, but it's super interesting. Or you know what what else I'd really like to see done? Sex Criminals.
Okay.
Have you ever read Sex Criminals?
That's another one I haven't heard of. But
So that's an Image book that's been
That's an
going for a
Image
couple
one.
years.
Yeah.
Who writes that one? But the pitch of this one is there are these two people who find out it's Chip Zdarsky, Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky. They're awesome.
Yeah.
They work together on so many books. These two people find out that when they have sex together, for a brief period of time, at the end they freeze time, and they decide they're gonna rob banks.
That'd be a good one. That would be a good one. Oh man,
that's a super dope book. Chip Zdarsky's like, I mean, I think his art's like fantastic.
Zayboy Live. We do interact with chat occasionally if they, give us question. Do y'all do
questions?
E-dates?
Give us cool points.
No,
like that?
I don't do an e-date. I have a fiance. So I don't know about Jose. Jose, do you e-date?
I don't. I never have.
Yeah. I think we're a little too old-fashioned for that. Let's get back to the topic we were on.
For me, it's like you have to do like indie comics, right? Like you can't, like, I don't want to like just do like a Marvel or a DC book. Like I want to like, because there's a lot of like really cool comic books that are just like never going to get adapted because they're not Marvel, basically.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's kind of why, like, if I did it, there's two that I would really like to do. And I agree with you. It'd be, it's nice to follow and do the indie comics because, like you said, they're the ones that aren't going to get the attention. But if I were to do it, I'm going to have to sneak on one Marvel and one DC. But the reason why I want these is because the writers who created these characters don't really get a lot of recognition. Not only that, these characters are very, very, very much like Z-list. So first one I would do is the worst X-Men alive. It's a story. Yeah, it was written.
I think I remember this one. Yeah,
it was written by one of my good friends, Max Bemis. He's the lead singer of Say Anything. He also does a lot of writing for comic books. He did the Moon Knight, like one of the most recent Moon Knight runs. And the whole story follows this X-Men character who he doesn't know what his superpower is. And the reason why he doesn't know what his superpower is because they tested him and they told him that if he ever does his superpower, he will die. So his whole entire career, his whole entire life, he's just training never to let out his superpower, his gift. Turns out his gift was he's a giant bomb.
Yeah, one time he gets to blow up.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that would be funny just because I feel like that'd be a funny short. Another one that I'd love to see is like we talked about this before, the Boom like comics.
The
Power Rangers.
Power Ranger series, yeah, that's just so perfect.
It would be so great to see, especially like a couple movie franchises of that, because once you get out of the little kids era and like go into the comic books, it gets pretty brutal. And I'm big fan of brutal Power Rangers because both you and I agree on this. We watched them as an adult. It doesn't translate when you're an adult, but it's still good. It's still good. I think the last one I would do. Oh man, I just had it in my head. Now I don't remember. Oh, Static Shock.
Yeah, there's at various points there's been like Static Shock movies in the works. I think like Michael B. Jordan was attached at one point.
Yeah.
Like they've had it given to a bunch of different people. Give me a Static Shock movie. That's awesome.
Give me a Static Shock movie. I feel like it's one of those things where Black Panther was so widely acclaimed because it gave minorities a superhero to look up to. It gave them a superhero that's along the side of pantheons of like people that we've seen for the rest of our lives, like as far as like white people going. And Black Panther changed that up. It was like a cultural phenomenon. They really did a great job with both movies. Ryan Coogler killed it on both ends by bringing in the feeling and not making it feel authentic, not making it feel forced. And I feel like this is a situation where DC can come in and bring in their own comic book franchise that could follow in those footsteps, but really tell a story of a character within the United States that could really appeal to a lot of younger kids. And they're just really dropping the ball on it, especially if Michael B. Jordan was attached. I feel like that should have been something that's still on the slate. That should be something that they push forward. And it's especially for our generation who grew up with Static on Saturday mornings, you're going to reach a lot of people, more so than you think.
He's a super cool character with like a lot of really interesting stuff going on. They should really use that. They should really be using that character.
And Dakota as a whole, like think of all the Dakotas
that's
that
always
don't get
been the
any
problem
love.
with DC, right? Is that DC's always so focused on like, we need a Superman movie, we need a Batman movie. Like they're always worried about like the Justice League members and stuff, and they have like a huge roster of people. Like a Plastic Man movie would be amazing. Just like he's Mr. Fantastic, but he's like he's like a weird creep who robs shit. Like you could make a movie about that.
Jim Carrey, just get Jim Carrey to be Plastic Man. Done deal. That's all
the guy who plays Jean-Ralphio on Parks and Recreation, Ben Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz would be great.
Perfect Plastic Man.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, they've got like a really deep roster of really interesting characters that they can make movies about. And instead, we're just getting like 20 Batman movies.
Well, that's the one thing that gives me hope about James Gunn is that, you know, we're getting a Booster Gold movie. It seems like he's really trying to bring up those like, you know, not really loved characters to the forefront. And I love to see it. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's Don't Cause a Ruckus. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, all that stuff. Remember, you can watch it live on twitch.tv/fan-controlled sports or listen to it on podcast services or the YouTube. Just check out the Fan-Controlled Sports thread. We'll be back next week talking more NFL free agency, probably talking more NBA. But until next time, keep the ruckus to a minimum.
Peace.